Summertime's here and you need something to keep you cool. Yeah, summertime's here and you need something to keep you cool. Well, hey, little girl, I got something for you. I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. Well, I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. You see, all these flavors are guaranteed to satisfy. I got bip up bananas, Dixie cups, all flavors and push-ups too. I'm your ice cream man. Stop me when I'm passing by. You see, all these flavors are guaranteed to satisfy. Yeah. Whoa. One, two, three, four. Yeah. Hey, I'm your ice cream man. I'm your ice cream man. I'm your ice cream man. Oh, I'm your ice cream man. Yes, and all my flavors are guaranteed to satisfy. Woo! Yeah! Yes!
That was free speech member, longtime free speech member Jason Bernstall doing a version of Van Halen's Ice Cream Man. And what a way to kick off this event today that we call 2020, What's So Funny? It's been a tough year. It's been a year that you know, we've had a hard time finding things that are funny and lighthearted. We've certainly gotten to spend some time with our family, and we've certainly got some opportunities to be a little introspective and maybe even being, you know, a little introverted. And I think we've had plenty of that. And I think it's time now that we look forward and kind of put some context to what things are meaningful to us. And we have some great guests with us today. We have Tom Becka, who's going to share some lighthearted quips on 2020 and kind of a different way of looking at things this year. And then we also have two old friends, two buddies, Rob Noxious and Rollin Ray Dietzel. And they have been holed up in a bunker during the pandemic. And we'll be going to them in just a little bit. And they have a lot of great insight on kind of what has been tripping their trigger in 2020. But right now, let's go to Tom Becka. And Tom, if you're unmuted, you have the floor.
Is it over yet? Is 2020 over yet? I mean, you want a year in review? I'll give you a year in review. It sucked. 2020 sucked. There's your year in review. I remember where I was a year ago today at a Christmas party, a crowded Christmas party. People were hugging each other. They were kissing strangers under the mistletoe. I mean, who does that sort of thing anymore? 1 year ago, I remember going to the supermarket and not being concerned if they had toilet paper. 1 year ago, if I was in a public restroom and the guy wouldn't wash his hands, I'd be grossed out. Now, if he doesn't wash his hands, I yell at him, Are you trying to kill us all? 2020. What a decade. What a decade. The holidays aren't the same. A kid can't sit on Santa's lap anymore. He has to speak to him through a plexiglass partition. It's not like he's visiting Santa. It's like he's visiting his dad in prison. I never thought I'd see a day where a face mask was a legitimate Christmas gift and hand sanitizer is a stocking stuffer. Now this started out about this time last year in Wuhan, China. Wuhan. It's a Chinese word. It means the world is fucked. The whole world is in turmoil because some Chinese dude ate a bat. He couldn't eat a dog like everybody else in this country. How bad was his wife's cooking that he thought eating a bat was a good idea? You'd think he could have at least maybe gone to a Panda Express or something. Then President Trump told us that this whole pandemic would be over in 2 weeks. Of course, he also told Melania that he and Stormy Daniels were just good friends. Stormy Daniels. Remember her? Trump paid her $150,000 to keep quiet about sex. Monica Lewinsky wishes she could have gotten a deal like that. Monica really got screwed. But that was happening back in 2019. Oh, how I longed for the peace and quiet of 2019. We only had the Mueller investigation, the impeachment, Michael Cohen, Roger Stone, Paul Manafort, the National Enquirer, and all the trouble that they all got into. The good old days of 2019. But back to 2020. The St. Patrick's Day parade was canceled. Berkshire Hathaway was canceled. The College World Series, the Olympic swim trials, high school graduations, family funerals, all were canceled. Nebraska, it's not for anybody. Now, 2020 was truly the year of the cancel culture. But the elections weren't canceled. No. Well, Chris Janisek's campaign was pretty much canceled. But the election, Janisek, a gay baker who tried to relate to the people in the 3rd District by sexually harassing a woman. And that might have worked until the Nebraska Democratic Party is run by women, and these women wanted him out, but he refused. Yes, in 2020, the Nebraska Democrats couldn't lose the way they normally do. They had to really step it up a notch. Oh, and speaking about stepping it up a notch, how about the way the Republicans treated Cara Eastman? The TV ads had her leaning so far to the left, she made Bernie Sanders look like Mike Pence. Comrade Cara, if you voted for her, Nancy Pelosi was going to come and take away all your stuff and give them to people that were too lazy to work for a living. She was one step away from being Stalin's illegitimate daughter. And then, of course, we had the presidential election. A presidential election in the middle of a pandemic. Donald Trump pretty much ignored COVID, and he had COVID. The pandemic was going to go away in 2 weeks. Later, he said, maybe if we try drinking bleach or Lysol or disinfect ourselves with some kind of light inside our body, it would go away. Then, he pretty much didn't say anything about COVID. And he especially didn't say anything about COVID when he held his big political rallies. Oh, yeah, his rallies, they were super spreader events. Super spreader events where President Trump could spread the word about why he should be reelected and spread disease at the same time. President Trump and his supporters kept promoting that Joe Biden had dementia, that Joe Biden was incompetent, that Joe Biden was an idiot. So when Joe Biden got to the debate stage, all he had to do was complete a sentence and don't look unhinged, and people thought, hey, Joe's not so bad after all. Joe Biden, the man from Scranton who took the train back home to Delaware. Joe Biden, who had so much tragedy in his life, he wasn't afraid to tell you about it. And boy, did he tell you about it, time and time again. He lost one son to cancer and another son to rumors about his illegal business dealings. Yes, the Republicans couldn't really dig up any dirt on Joe, so they went after Hunter Biden. According to the Fox Cable News Network, Hunter Biden was the story of the year, all based on speculation, innuendo, and wishful thinking. Now, it's possible they might find some dirt on Hunter, and you can bet that Rudy is going to keep on trying. Oh, Rudy. 2020 was the year that he went from being America's mayor to America's crazy uncle. The world went wrong. You used to be so respected. Now you're the punchline for a joke about Grecian formula. And if you thought the election was weird, that is nothing compared to what went on after the election. Frivolous lawsuit after frivolous lawsuit and no evidence to back up the claims that there was voter fraud. President Trump was like the Black Knight in that Monty Python movie. His arms and legs were cut off, but boy, he's still trying to fight. Oh, 2020. The police were under fire. There were riots in the streets, grand jury investigations, movie theaters, concert halls, and TV shows all shut down. 2020 saw Aunt Becky behind bars and Roger Stone being freed from them. President Trump wished Jeffrey Epstein's alleged pimp well while calling Kamala Harris a monster. And I didn't talk about the president being acquitted in his impeachment trial. That was in 2020 as well. I know, that seems like a million years ago. But looking ahead to 2021, the vaccine will help get things back to normal. Joe Biden will help get the White House back to normal. Things are going to be a lot better. Unless, of course, President Trump refuses to leave office, and unless the Russian hack into our computers is as bad as they say it is, and unless people refuse to take the vaccine, and unless the QAnon people want to start some kind of a civil war. But yeah, 2021 has to be better, doesn't it? 2020. Is it over yet?
Tom Becka. Thank you, Tom.
Hey, just like when I was doing stand-up. No laughter. I like that. I felt right at home.
All right. Well, that's a great way to kick off this great session that we all need. We all need the break, right? Let me tell you about two other guests that we have here today. Rob Noxious and Rollin Ray Dietzel. They're longtime friends. And lifelong comics. And like I said earlier, they've been holed up in a bunker since March when the COVID hit. And they have definite opinions about 2020, the pandemic, and the election. So now, welcome them from the Archie bunker. They asked me to say that, fellas. So, Rob and Rollin Ray, take it away.
Are we on?
We're on. We're on. Good morning, Omaha Free Speech Society. Whoop from the bunker. The Archie bunker.
I know you like that.
I know. We take turns playing Edith.
Go away, Glenn Miller plays. Stop it. Stop it.
I'll stop. Go ahead.
We were asked to do a review of 2020. And we are serious about our opinions. And we have been holed up in this bunker since March. And we are starting to get tired of each other a little bit. A titch. But 2020 started out great, Rob.
It did.
It did.
Fabulous.
I mean, Nebraska wins the national championship in football. I was like, wow. We won the national championship again. And Tommy Frazier was on the team and Coach Osborne was still there. And I couldn't understand why we played Florida again, but I didn't care. We won.
It was a rerun, man. A rerun.
It was a rerun.
It was a, yes, just like That's My Mama. It was a, yo-ho-ho, ride, you know, it was a rerun.
So Villanova did not beat Georgetown in the March Madness.
No, they did not.
Okay. Well, you have resolutions that you, I know you want to talk about.
Well, you know.
Hold on.
Okay, I'll hold on.
No, go ahead.
Okay. You know, last year, friends, we gathered together on New Year's Eve with our families and our friends. Do you remember what it was like to gather together with families and friends? Ray? Okay, yes, those were the days. We were together, sharing our hopes and dreams for a brand new year. We were making resolutions. It was like a fresh new start.
That's nice.
Yes, I remember my resolution distinctly.
I have a good memory. You have a great memory.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you. After a year of road gigs traveling, I wanted to focus on my family.
Family's important.
Family is very important. I wanted to spend more time with my wife and kids. So make it resolved. I want more time with my family.
Cool.
No, be careful what you ask for. My wife can brush her teeth for 42 minutes straight. My children never went away. We were locked in, and after 10 days, they suggested that Ray and I maybe would be happier here in the bunker, and so here we are.
You'd think that maybe you would resolve for some other thing.
Yes, oh yes. I should have resolved for like curing cancer or creating a great new dipping sauce for pizza rolls, but I wasn't that smart. I should have resolved to win the lottery. That is not what I did.
Then the pandemic hit, Rob.
Oh, the pandemic.
And there's nothing funny. There's nothing funny about people getting sick and dying. There's just nothing funny about that.
No, it sucks. Unless it's like The Godfather, where watching people die is cool. This sucks.
Then the point was wear masks, stay 6 feet away, stay home, social distance.
That's not a big deal for me. I am very antisocial, and I prefer to stay at home here in the bunker. That's how I like it, baby.
I like the bunker too. Thanks for letting me live here.
Nobody up top is really missing us at all. In fact, if we hadn't shown up here this morning, you might have assumed we were dead and not even cared.
Well, we lived like kings.
Yes, we lived like kings. And we smoked kings because we couldn't get any hundreds. But that's okay. We take what we get down here in the bunker. You know, when Ray and I first decided to lock ourselves into the bunker, little did we know we'd be living like Caesar, like in old Rome. We were like in our togas. It was just days in and out of binging and purging.
And binging.
We hadn't intended to purge as much as we did, but I told my wife to stock the bunker with enough food and supplies for 3 years. Unfortunately, that was 30 years ago, and I gotta say, he's little clingier than I intended, so we purged, baby.
Yeah, I still feel a little sick from those peaches. Those pears or peaches?
No, these are
They turned.
Wait, these are potatoes. Hard to tell the difference these days. So, Ray, in fact, we even had space food sticks that were so dry, we just poured them into hot water and drank them.
Like ramen.
Like ramen, yes. Anyway.
I like ramen, though.
I do, too. We purged until
Can we get some ramen?
We can get some ramen. Yes, George Ramen. Anyway, we binged and purged, and, finally we decided, my friends, that it was better to go Grubhub and DoorDash, and that's the way we've gone ever since.
Well, I'll tell you, Rob, this has been quite an interesting couple of weeks.
Yeah,
lately.
It has been. I mean, I tell you, it has been a very, very couple of interesting weeks. In fact, we were prepared to suffer through an Edgar Winter down here.
An Edgar? You mean the guy who wrote Frankenstein? Are we having a guest?
No, the albino, like in Otis Twelve's book.
Oh.
No, but I meant to say nuclear winter. Go ahead, Ray. Go ahead. That's what I meant to say.
Hey, well, we have got a special song prepared for y'all.
About our binging.
We have spent quite a bit of time watching TV with our cocks and our Wi-Fi.
That's right.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you, cocks. I'd like to thank all the cocks out there. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes, and this is about what we binged. It's a little number we like to call the first 12 days of COVID. Ready? Me.
You start it.
Okay. On the first days of COVID, our cable brought to me Adam 12, Rescue 911, $10,000 Pyramid 90210, 8 is enough, 700 Club, $6 million Man, Hawaii 5 Jeff or Sons, Three's Company, Too Close for Comfort, and the Partridge Family. We watched them all, baby.
We watched watched them all.
You loved it.
And we're just starting Shameless, 2.5 Men,
3.5 Men,
4.5 Men,
Peaky Blinders.
Oh
boy.
And
anything with Billy Piper in it. Woo woo! Billy Piper. Yeah.
Hey, so I got some bad news for you.
Right.
It's time to empty the you know what.
It's your turn.
No, it's your turn.
Okay.
And don't forget to wear your mask when you go outside.
I always wear a mask. You know that.
Okay. Let me guess what kind of mask you're wearing today.
Go ahead.
N95.
Nope.
Paper.
I'm afraid of paper cuts. No paper mask.
Cloth mask with a middle finger extended. Good idea, though.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It's
You're welcome.
genius.
Welder hood.
No, not welder hood.
How about a gator?
Bingo! I'm gonna wear a gator outside.
No. That's doesn't cut. No. No. I told you. Stop bringing those masks.
I think they're funny. I got this Skeletor mask. We're just. Grace, go. No.
So what kind of mask are you gonna wear?
Well, today I'm going with Batman. Well, actually, you know what I've got? I got a Husker mask, but I'm too embarrassed to wear it out in public.
We won last night. We got a rerun.
No, that was a real game. We beat the hell out of Rutgers by 7 points. It was a massacre.
Yeah. So what kind of mask are you gonna
I'm not going to wear it. I'm just going to... Okay, red ball with leather strap. That's the one I want to wear.
Yeah, but it doesn't cover your nose.
No, it doesn't. Boy, is it fun. I've been down here with you too long. Let's move it on, brother.
You know, I don't know about you guys, but being in the bunker and being in a situation where you can't really exercise, I have literally gained weight like crazy. Anybody else done that? You've gained some weight, haven't you?
I gained a titch, yes,
yeah.
indeed.
So what I had to do, even though I wear polyester a lot, and it's stretchy.
Yes.
You know it's stretchy.
I know, and when you rub your thighs together, it makes a noise.
I know. Yes, it does. But ultimately, I've had to cordon off my closet with 180 to 190 pound pants.
You haven't worn those in years.
I know. 190 to 200 pound pants.
You haven't worn those in years.
And greater than 200 pound pants is where I have most of my pants right now.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, my wife Rhonda said, you should make a greater than section. She thinks she's funny.
I think she's funny.
What'd you say?
I said I think she's funny, Ray!
Oh, boy.
We got our plex.
Well, listen, I think we need to talk about the election before we get too far.
Okay. All righty. So, what do you want to talk about the election? There was an election, Ray.
Yeah, I heard about that. When do we vote?
Are you kidding?
Yeah, when do we vote? Did you vote? I mean, what do we do?
Ray, you did vote, right? I mean, we talked about this.
Yeah, of course. I voted.
Yeah, and who did you vote for, Trump or Biden?
Well, none of your beeswax.
Okay, I really hope you did vote.
Me too.
You know, I don't want to, get out there too far, but, the one thing about President Trump is he loves the derogatory nickname. It's his trademark, like Zorro had his Z. Trump likes to pin his opponents down with a crappy nickname to make them look small. And, Joe Biden, well, he proved to be a little problematic, a little elusive. I mean, there are veritable plethoras of Joes out there in the ether. I mean, there's Morning Joe, there's Joe Obama, Joe the Plumber, Jolton Joe, G.I. Joe, Curly Joe Besser, Joe Cool, Mighty Joe Young, Yolanda Young, Forever Young, Carl Jung, the Jung and the rest. Listen, let's not forget Oh, no, I didn't forget. There's Billy Joe, Bobby Joe, and Betty Joe, and Uncle Joe, who's a moving kind of slow
At the junction.
Almost lost my train of thought there, Ray. I guess the point I was trying to make with that is, I don't want to get your petticoats in a ruffle, but Trump never quite got the nickname for Joe narrowed down. He kept flip-flopping between, 3 or 4 different nicknames. I mean, we had Basement Joe, and Sleepy Joe, Dementia Joe, and finally China Joe, which sort of baffled me. I mean, unless he's saying that Joe's a broken ankle, I mean, he get busted like fine china, while he was, playing with his... I still don't think it works, and the point here is perhaps if Trump might have won a second term, if he'd been able to come up with a good nickname for Joe earlier, and now he's stuck with the crappy nickname of President-elect Joe Biden. Who'd have thought that had ever happened?
So what you're saying is Biden won, Trump got fired from being president. Wait a second. Wasn't there voter fraud?
I know there's been a lot of loose talk flying around about voter fraud, and all I can say is it is true. I can sum the entire concept of voter fraud up in one word. Sanjaya! What a great hairstyle he had. Yes. The idea of voting is to pick the very best. You could call it rigged or call it fraud, but Sanjaya was never the best. I mean...
He was pretty good.
No, he sucked butt. Let me say this. I sit through season after season of The Voice, and this best singer never wins. It's always some crappy country artist on Blake's team that gets voted into the finals. That's not the best. We're talking about hacks that couldn't get a contract to play the Horseshoe Casino on a down season. These horseshoes are very lucky. But I'm sorry, Blake's team doesn't deserve
But
to...
Blake Shelton is a country music superstar.
And he sleeps with Gwen Stefani. The point I'm making here is our election should have clear winners and clear losers. I want our elections to be like a good episode of BattleBots. One clear and distinct winner and one heaping, smoking pile of garbage spinning around, spewing out gears in a death spiral so you know who actually won. I don't mean to go overboard, though. That's just my feeling.
So let's be clear. Trump got fired.
Trump got fired. Yes, that sums it up, Ray.
Hey, Rob, you're fired.
No! That's great. Thank you, Ray. Trump was fired.
Hey, Rob, you're fired.
No, stop saying that. Trump was fired.
Hey, so isn't that funny? It's like the show. Hey, you're fired. He kept saying you're fired, and then he got fired. That is called irony.
Irony, yes,
You're fired. Isn't that funny?
I
think it's funny. You know what's funny about that?
What?
Is he would do that on his show, The Intern, and say, "You're fired," and then the intern would say, "Well, no," and he said, "You have to leave the show because you're fired. You're fired."
Right. The show wasn't called The Intern. It was called The Apprentice.
He didn't do the intern?
No, he didn't do The Intern.
And who did the intern?
That was Bill Clinton.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Devil with the blue dress.
Let's wrap this up.
All righty. Folks, we want to say thank you for letting us, leap out of the bunker through the miracle of electronic media and share our few minor thoughts that we have left with you, the Freedom of Speech Society, because we believe in the freedom of speech, because without the freedom of speech, we wouldn't be able to deliver messages like this. Merry Christmas! Because we can still say Merry Christmas because we got freedom of speech. So Merry Christmas, freedom of speech. Say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. And the other thing that freedom of speech allows us that people ignore is it gives Ray and I the ability, in fact, the incentive to tell some of the lamest, worst jokes you've ever heard.
Word.
Word. And right now, we'd like to leave you with one of the lamest jokes we've ever told. And it's very simple. Ray, why do Democrats call Al Franken and not Al Franklin?
Hey, Rob.
Yes.
Why do Democrats call Al Franken and not Al Franklin?
Noel. And it's the worst joke we've ever told. Thank you, Freedom of Speech Society.
Free Speech Society.
What's wrong with freedom?
I didn't say there's anything.
It's free speech, but I like freedom.
Okay.
That's why I'm leaving the voice. Thank you, Phil. Great.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks to Rob Noxious and Rollin Ray Dietzel. I wish I had a theme song for you guys. I would play it right now. That would be your outro. So hopefully this has gotten a little bit of your 2020 stress off your backs. And thank you all for attending the events that you did this year. We loved being able to get together this way. And this is really nice to see the participation and everyone willing to get together this way. I'm going to turn this over to Mike McDonald and let him go through some of the questions that some of you might have or topics that some of you would like to discuss. And Mike, do I need to unmute you there?
Okay. Hi, everybody. That went by pretty fast. That's like watching a movie at 1.5 speed. So I really enjoyed it. The great thing about good comedy, I think, is it touches on what's really going on, but skews it in a light that we don't sometimes consider. We're way too serious about a lot of things. So I really enjoyed it. But if you would put your questions on the chat, I'd be glad to refer them and let's actually open you up. Joe can open you up so that you can ask your question to our guests. Yeah. Okay, so let's go. I guess I will ask a quick question myself, and maybe our guests could ask this. Why did you get involved in comedy, and why do you think that the way that you approach comedy is so important to how we get along and how we handle all these affairs and these things that are occurring in our life? I guess we could start with Tom. You first.
Well, I got involved in comedy because I didn't want a real job. Actually, you bring up an interesting point about comedy, in that if you take a look at, like the terrorists, right? Terrorists don't have a great sense of humor. And when I say the terrorists, I don't necessarily even mean like the Muslims. I'm talking about like people on the far right, that cause problems. People on the far left that cause problems. The people that don't have the opportunity, I guess, to look at things and laugh. Laughter is a great release valve, and I think as long as we can laugh at our foibles, it will help us survive all that we're going through. And I think that was one of the problems that I personally had with Donald Trump, is that I never felt like he could laugh at himself. I never felt like he could really laugh at anything other than maybe, somebody getting hurt, that he doesn't like getting hurt. I mean, I think it's important. I mean, if you take a look at the presidents that we've had in our life, in our lifetime, I think most of them at least had somewhat of a sense of humor. Reagan had a sense of humor. Obama had a sense of humor. I think George W. had a sense of humor. I don't see Trump with a sense of humor. And I think that the ability to laugh at ourselves and to look at something and see the humor in bad situations, I think that's one of the things that help us survive. And one of the things that help make us strong. So, when when I got involved in comedy back, that's almost 30 years ago now, over 30 years ago now. When I got involved in comedy, I wasn't thinking about anything like that. I just wanted to, pick up cocktail waitresses at the clubs.
They may come to us.
Now us in the bunker.
Are we unmuted?
We're unmuted.
I can't tell.
Yeah, we're unmuted.
Oh, okay. I think it comes down to me. I think Jimmy Carter said it best. I have lust in my heart for telling jokes. There is something about having an audience, and 9 times out of 10, the jokes fall flat on their face. You get used to it. Failure is a big part of what we do, and I was really bad. I was awful. You were one of the worst. Yes. In fact, I remember one night being on stage for 48 minutes in Sioux City, and they hadn't laughed once. And the club owner, you've got to quit punishing them. But they didn't like the juggler.
He was banned in Topeka.
I guess the thing about comedy is, there's things. It's like you hear the jokes. In fact, it's been too easy this year. This year, for all the horror, it just makes it easier to write the jokes. Wanting to say them for fear of getting punched, that's a different thing. And by the way, I don't know all of you on here, but there's some faces that I'm very happy to see this morning. So Papa Rick, Miss Carol, Mr. Galusha, for those of you that I have not seen in a long time, I just want to say I love you all. Ray, you talk about comedy.
You talk about comedy and President Trump and everything. A year, maybe 2 years ago, who has any concept of time anymore? When Trump was still running for office, he was just starting to gain a lot of traction. Connecto had a series where they had speakers, the writers of Mad Magazine were doing a session where they were talking about the process of writing for Mad. And they said they can't write any jokes about Donald Trump because you can't write anything crazier than what he was saying. You had to write the reaction of the people around him because you couldn't exaggerate what he was saying. You had to go and exaggerate what the people around him would be saying. And which was an interesting thing. Whereas with any other president, you could exaggerate what they were saying. So it has been a whole different year this year for a whole different, 5 years or so of how we deal with this sort of thing.
Okay. I got a question. You guys, I'm going to open up. Bob Atherton has a question. Go ahead, Bob.
I just wondered if the fellas had any thoughts about Mayor Jean or our new trash system. Any thoughts? I can't park in my garage anymore.
I have an opinion about that, Bob. I like the idea of the city picking up our trash.
Yeah, but are they? I think overall Jean's done a good job, and I think she's going to be tough to beat. But I do think this trash thing could be her Achilles heel. You're right. I mean, I've got, my trash bin is bigger than my first apartment was, and I'm a single guy living alone. I take the trash out now once a month, because I don't need to. I just don't have that much. So I think that might be her Achilles heel is the trash. I don't know any real strong candidates against her yet, though, although R.J. Neary could put up a good fight. RJ, his campaign's already texted me, trying to get my support. And so they're active at least. So there's some stuff that out there, but I think Gene will be tough to beat. Although the trash will be an issue.
It's something you guys can try. Rob and I have both tried it, and it works like a charm. You take those big trash cans and you put the bags on the top like you're supposed to, but underneath it, you put stuff in that's like is not supposed to go in. So when they take the thing and they lift it up mechanically, they say, oh yeah, it's just white trash bags on the top. So they must have done it the right way. And then when they flipped it over, it's like
my neighbor's wallaby.
Yes. So you should try that. That works every time.
I don't want to trash talk Mayor Stothard, but thank God my neighborhood hasn't been annexed fixed yet, baby. I still got the papillion trash. Yes, yes. No problems in my world, friends.
I don't know.
You got annexed, didn't you?
Bob, what do you think? You think Jean's don't have any problem with re-election?
Well, I think if she doesn't win, I think it's time to bring back Miss Jean's story time.
Another thing that could hurt Jean is just her being attached to the Republican Party. And although she hasn't been attached to the Trump wing so much, but I think right now the Republican name is tarnished, and at least in this district in Omaha. So that could be another issue that could hurt her down the line.
Thanks, you guys. I thought those were really provocative, Bob. Thank you. Hey, I got another one that's real provocative, and I know you guys. This one just drops in your lap. Okay, so here comes a softball. Victor, you want to ask your question?
Mr.
Unmute.
There we go. Yeah, my question is, what do you guys think of the whole situation when the pandemic really kicked in March? Everybody started watching the show Tiger King, and for some reason it just got wildly popular, and it was an extremely bizarre show. And I know that everybody was stuck inside, but just talk about the appeal of that show. Like, should it have been as popular as it was?
Well, Victor, when I saw your question, it pissed me off because with everything I was adding about what 2020 had in it, I didn't even think about the Tiger King, and that would have been a great fodder for some stuff. I was like, how could I have forgot about the Tiger King? I think that the part of it was just because it was just so bizarre. People like animals. It just had so many weird twists and stuff, and they were bored. What else are you going to do, at the time? I mean, that was really during the height of the shutdown, when I had a document from the government saying that I was allowed to be out because I was in the media.
Yes.
But other people were stuck in their house. It was like a communal thing that people could watch and then talk about. So it was sort of a communal thing. While people weren't able to go out and associate with their buddies out of the bar or something like that, they could all get online and talk about the Tiger King as some sort of a shared experience.
Hey, I'll tell you, I didn't watch the Tiger King show, but Carol on Dancing with the Stars got screwed. That's my opinion.
I personally wasn't heavily invested in it, but if you folks would like to, earn a little extra coin, I got 3 words for you. Carol Baskin Robbins. Yes. People will show up. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, I love it.
Done.
Thanks, Victor. So this is a quick question. We got a question from Rick Galusha. Would you unmute Rick?
Who's talking?
It's me.
Who's talking?
This is Rick Spellman. The talk about the far right and the far left. If you've got a few minutes, go back and find some of the, remember the old Far Side cartoons? It's almost like we're there again. They're really nice to refresh your memory on, and that's a series of cartoons that could make a reappearance, I would think, without any trouble. Thanks very much today, you guys. It's been a very enjoyable morning. The Far Side, we're there.
A quick story about the Far Side. Gary Larson used to live in Albuquerque when I lived in Albuquerque. And one day he just put like 50 pink flamingos in his front yard. Just he was eccentric like that. He put 50 pink flamingos in his front yard. And his HOA said, hey, look, read the covenants. Anything you put in your yard has got to be earth tones. So instead of taking the pink flamingos out of his yard, he painted them all beige.
That's Far Side. Oh, I almost laughed so hard an antler flew out of my nostril.
Okay. Let's see here.
Don't talk with your mouth. Don't talk with your mouth full.
I think Lucia was next. Yes.
Mike, don't talk with your mouth full.
Okay. This is a Rick, do you want to ask your question about district race?
I sure could. I noticed in the paper this morning that about 17 people are applying for Rich Paul's city council seat, but of those, only 6 are actually going to run then in May. So what's up with those other 11 people that just want to be a city council person for what, 3 months, 4 months? What is going on there?
Is it too late to sign up?
I think the deadline was Friday.
God damn it.
You could have won. I would have voted for you.
I got a face for radio.
Yes, you do.
Why are so many people running? Is that the question?
Just ego, just a lark. Somebody just a lark saying, hey, you know what? Let's see if I can get in here. And maybe, maybe they've got some political connections. I don't know. I mean, the city council votes for it. So you got to at least have some connection to people on the council to get the gig. It might be just something fun to say you did, to say you didn't. I don't know. Yeah.
Ray, it's your turn.
I think it's they just want to get close to Amy Melton.
Don't we all?
I think a lot of people see it as a stepping stone. Think of Pete Buttigieg. Okay. Okay, here we go. We have, I think this is a good one. Let me get it back again. All right. I'm sorry, working on it. Oh, okay. So Mark Welch has a question. Mark, you want to unmute Mark Welch? Are you unmuted?
I'm unmuted. Yeah, I was just wondering why none of you talked about climate change in your jokes. Is it just too serious of a subject?
I just wanted to piss you off. That's all, Mark.
Well, no smoking jokes either, huh, Tom?
Yeah, seriously. Part of it was because there's just so much in there, and part of it was also the fact about Mark. What's a good climate change joke, Mark? You're involved in this. You're involved in this topic. When the climate change people get together, what do they joke about?
Well, actually, in the chat, I put a little 2.5-minute video of the far middle that I'd encourage people to watch. It's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I think on my part, it was just a matter of pride. Honestly, everything else I was focusing on, I didn't think about climate change, just like I didn't think about the Tiger King. There was so much that you could do. So I do think climate change is a serious issue, but I don't know. I mean, I guess you could joke about, what the forest fires or something like that. I don't know.
Trump's telling us to go rake the forest. If we just rake the forest of all the leaves, then it wouldn't burn.
That's a good idea. You're missing something there, but it would cost Omaha to make it work. If we would give up having the Olympic curling finals here, we could send all those broomers right to California and get it picked up and clean split. No more fires.
There you go.
Okay, so I'm going to read this question out because Rich already had it in the sunshine. And I think this is kind of funny because I thought of it too. Will Joe Biden be as rich a source of material as Trump has been?
What?
Will Biden be as rich a source of material as Trump has been? First, no, unless he chooses to paint himself purple, at which that he will up his, interest level. We're gonna get. Let's face it, we're gonna get a lot of.
They're already struggling, Rob. They're already struggling with things to do against Biden. So Dr. Jill Biden is a thing. That the doctor in front of her name. So think about this. If you were to go back in history and pick out things where somebody was a doctor, like Dr. Feelgood or Dr. Pepper, And though none of those are real doctors, how do you go back and say, Dr. Hibbert on The Simpsons? Are they going to say we have to go through all the Simpsons episodes when Dr. Hibbert was and change it because he really wasn't a doctor, or the voice actor wasn't a doctor? I mean, come on.
I want to be called Rob Noxious from now on.
You do have a noxious.
No, I like to play doctor.
I think that no matter who the president is, they're always going to be room for jokesters somewhere. You know, they're going to do or say something, you know, and there'll be a joke. You know, there's always something there. I think you're right. I think the Dr. Biden thing might be something. There might be something with, you know, he'll have some sort of a foible where he'll, you know, like when, you know, George Bush, you know, puked in Japan, or George W. Bush went to pull when the door was pushed. I mean, there'll be stuff like that that'll happen, and then you'll have some jokes. They're always good for. The question will be, will people laugh at them? And that's part of the problem too, because if you take a look at those Trump jokes, man, I know from the stuff that I saw on my social media, there'd be Trump jokes, and people were not thinking they were funny. You know, how dare you laugh at our leader? You know, sort of a thing. And the same thing I think will be true in the far left with Joe Biden. You know, people just get so wrapped up in the personality, and you've got with social media, you know, one person that's annoyed and rebuked can end up getting something shared 1 million times, and the next thing you know, it's a real issue when it's not a real issue at all. So, yeah, we'll see how it turns out with Joe and Dr. Jill.
Hey, the real problem is that how can we be funny without being mean? And I think there's it's like the old, a comic can either go super dirty or naughty, or a comic can be reasonably clean with some innuendo and kind of fill that void. But right now, the climate is mean on both sides. Let's be more creative and tell less dick jokes.
Yeah. Well,
are you going to tell a dick joke?
No, I was just going to say, in focus, pre-Trump, there was a mythos about Joe Biden that he was Gap Masterson, if you want to go there. He had a reputation for throwing the occasional gap, and they were always worried about it. But after 4 years of Trump...
He was an embellisher.
I wouldn't even go embellisher. It was, you know, occasionally he just...
How about a big talker?
Big talker. Betty Crocker. I'm just saying that after 4 years of Trump, what used to be a gap it's not quite what it used to be. So look forward. I'm just going to say we're going to get a lot of Alzheimer's jokes pointed at this president, no matter what he does.
And that's not funny. Alzheimer's not funny.
No, it's not. No. I'm not going there.
When the guy was talking about climate change.
No, wait a second. I'm going to disagree with you. I think that.
Don't interrupt us, Tom Becka.
It'd be funny if it's done right. Anything.
No. He's going for the pro-Alzheimer's joke. Let's hear it.
Hey, the nice thing about Alzheimer's, you're meeting new people every day. I mean, come on. There's something. Yeah, I mean, you know.
Is he heckling us?
No, he's being funny.
Let's treat him like the heckler. Okay.
There's some topics that are more sensitive than others, obviously, but if handled the right way, you know, I've heard comics do some very edgy material, but if it's handled the right way, it can be very funny.
Okay, you guys, I got another, I think, Joy, boy, this is just a gift that I didn't hear you talk about. Can you unmute Jody? Jody J has got a question for you guys.
Hi, Jody.
Hello, Jody.
How's it going, guys? Ray, I was just wondering why you're wearing that helmet. Are you trying to protect yourself from the aliens that are about to be unmasked now that...
I don't know if you see, you can't tell Rob's limbs, but sometimes Rob's limbs go all over the place. You probably didn't see that, but he hit me in the head about 3 times already this morning.
I have restless leg syndrome.
Well, no, not. Oh, was that your leg that kicked me?
That was my leg.
Wow. You're limber.
I am.
And cute.
I could be a Russian women's gymnast.
Could be what?
A Russian women's gymnast.
Did you hack the federal government?
I'm incredibly small, tight, and I have not had my first period yet.
No. I have a number of head apparels. I have a shower cap in case he spits. I have my Rollin Ray cap that's already soaked with his spittle. And then I also have, hold on, let me find out what I did with that.
WD-40's right here, right?
Oh my gosh. Does anybody really care if the aliens are announced in 2020? Was that supposed to be the culmination of the whole year that...
We're talking lizard people, the Silurians, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was talking to JFK Jr. just yesterday about when the reveal was coming, and he said there's a few little glitches with the rollout because they can't get the theme song right. But as soon as Vangelis can pick out the right theme song, this thing's going gangbusters. That's what I've heard on the DM.
I thought it was Hans Zimmer.
No, it's Vangelis.
I'd rather hear Hans Zimmer.
I think the second part of the second part of your question is, won't Space Force protect you? I think that's fertile ground. I really think that's fertile ground, guys. What do you think of Space Force?
Well, as you know, Vice President Pence yesterday announced that from heretofore, all members of Space Force will be known as Guardians.
He got his vaccine.
We got to protect the satellites. I mean, my God, can you imagine what this country would be like if we couldn't see, the Tiger King or bids and other network shows? So yeah, we gotta protect the satellites. We gotta have that Space Force.
That's right. In fact, I'm hoping to be adopted by a member of Space Force. So they can be my legal guardians. What? It's early.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. Anybody hate the fact that during the pandemic, we've all been home, and does anybody have a spouse or a significant other that likes to do puzzles? Because my wife does a puzzle, and it's usually a hard one, like the sky or clouds or M&Ms.
She did Black Cat in a Coal Mine last week, and that was interesting. That was hard. That was tough.
Yeah, and they leave the puzzle pieces on the table, so we constantly have to eat with our plates on our knees. Anybody do that? No, never mind.
Just us.
Just us. Hey, you have a comment about Black Lives Matter, or what is it?
I refrain from mentioning BLM, but I will say something, because while we were down here in the bunker, we would occasionally,
it's a serious topic.
We would hear about protesting Trump, BLM, how uptight everybody was. But then I read about that BLM protest with California, and I have to side with the protesters. BLM was wrong. Trump was wrong. The Bureau of Land Management had no business trying to frack on private lands. Screw that BLM! You do not want fracking in California. There's a reason for clean energy. I don't want to say whose fault it is, but it's San Andreas's.
Thank you. Okay. I'm glad you got that out.
Well,
you've been holding that in.
Everybody's got different opinions on BLM, and that's mine.
Hey, can you unmute Jay Buchanan? Jay has a question.
Speak up, Jay Buchanan.
Hello, Jay.
Speak up. Where'd he go?
Maybe Jay left. Did Jay leave?
He's a chicken.
I
do like chicken.
Yeah, Jay left.
His question.
What was his question?
Which vaccine, Bob? Rob and Jeff must have been in the trial.
Here's the question.
We must have been on the trial for the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my question was, are you guys going to take the vaccine?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah, yeah.
I intend to pay for it like any good American. I won't just take it.
I'm gonna administer it to Rob because he said he wants it in his bottom.
You know,
Bottom beater.
And we actually have these discussions during our news meetings. On one hand, we do need to, you know, if somebody has a side effect from the vaccine, you know, you got to mention that. On the other hand, people that have a side effect are so minimal, how much do you mention it? You don't want to blow it out of proportion. And when you consider the side effect of COVID could be death, I'll take, you know, I'll take a side effect of a bruised arm or feeling kind of crappy for a day, you know. I mean, I'll take that as opposed to the side effect of COVID. So yeah, I'll definitely take the vaccine when it's available. And the people that I love the meme that's out there. Is let me get this straight. You've been eating hot dogs and chicken nuggets your whole life, and you're concerned about what might be in the vaccine. You know, I mean, it's yeah.
Hey, I heard that there's going to be a chip in the vaccine, and I hope there is one because maybe it'll help me find my keys.
I mean, the British like fish and chips, so what's wrong with vaccine and chips? That's all I'm saying. It's a bonus.
That's very funny.
By the way, from a show of hands real quick. How many of you are going to take the vaccine? Yeah?
I'm gonna take the vaccine, but I'm only taking the first one, and then they're gonna have to chase me down to get the second one. Just because I'm a wild thing. You're gonna do both? Yeah, me too. Just lying.
Okay.
You know, Victor has a comment here that I'd like to address. Victor says, I'm sure the comedians are going to miss Trump. You know, and I don't know about that so much, about the comedians so much, but I do think that this has been with every president, in hindsight, and they always end up looking better than when they're in office. I think, you know, I mean, even Nixon was. So I think that Trump will end up looking a little bit better a few years down the line. But, yeah, but there'll be plenty of other things to make jokes about. I remember when I first started doing talk radio way back when. After 2 weeks, I went and sat down in the lobby of KFAB, and I told the receptionist, I said, Lynn, I can't keep on doing this. I've talked about everything there is to talk about. And the reality is that no, every day there's something new. So yeah, so no matter who the president is, there'll be things. The late night comedians will always have jokes available, as will Saturday Night Live and the others, because that's sort of who we are as Americans.
I think that's good grounds for conversation. The chip in the vaccine, I like that. Can you guys roll with that a little bit? I'll tell you what, it's crazy. My cell phone knows where my car's parked all the time.
I just want to know, how come we don't talk about any of the other Douglas brothers? It's always Chip, 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 Chip. You know, there were my 3 sons. How come we're only focusing on one? That's what
I love good obscure references like that. That is an obscure reference. Although we do talk about the other Chip Douglas, who was the other Chip Douglas who produced many of the Monkey songs, right, Bob?
That's right.
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, you know, we already have a Petticoat Junction reference, and now on my 3 sons reference. I think we're catering to our audience, would you say?
Well, you know, we're going back to what we love, and I love loosely. I feel like we're getting a little Desi-lewd.
That's still Lucy.
Yeah, I know it is. I guess, yes, I'm showing my age. And Tom, you're younger than I am, so that scares me.
I'm not younger than you. I'm just more immature, and therefore it seems that way.
Seems right. Any other questions?
Yeah, I think Tony has something here I'd like to address. Cable news watching will go in the tank with Trump out of office. Serious layoffs on the way. Well, first of all, there's serious layoffs in all news media right now. So no matter what, there's serious. I mean, take a look at the World Herald. Take a look at a lot of TV stations. I've been lucky. My company didn't lay anybody off during the pandemic, although we all got an email yesterday saying that there will be no raises in 2021. But I'll take that as opposed to layoffs. But cable news, the news media in general, has always gone in cycles. It's, I mean, there's slow news days. There's some days there's just really not much in the news, and so people aren't watching that. But when, the shit hits the fan, then the ratings go up. So
I think, Tom, based on what you just said, I think Rob has a comment on MSM, right? Don't you?
Oh, what about MSM?
Yeah.
MSM, there's a danger there. Relying on MSM, trusting MSM, it scares the hell out of me. That's why Jeff and I never order Chinese down here in the bunker.
I thought it was going to go a different way.
I've got a question for you, Tom. How do we differentiate between the Omaha World Herald, the newspaper, and what it currently is, the pamphlet? Do paper boys get paid less because it doesn't weigh more than an ounce? Is it me?
You are showing your age. I haven't been paper boys in years. Yeah.
You have to say paper person because there's paper girls too.
Actually, you can skip the paper under your door.
That's right.
Look at this in a realistic point of view. Okay, you've got some old guys still hanging on. You got the Joe Jordans of the world that are still hanging on. I mean, me. I'm not really news, but you got some of the old people that are still hanging on. Then you've got some really good young reporters coming up. Okay, I think there's some. I think World Herald has a few. I think Channel 7. I think we had a few that are pretty good young reporters coming up. And then what happens is they hit 30 years old. And they realize, oh, wait a minute, I want to have better hours. I don't want to be attacked for being fake news. There are better jobs with more money and less stress. And so they all end up becoming, public information officers for a school district or a city or a charity. And they make a lot more money that way. And what we're doing is we're losing that whole middle ground of journalists. And I worry about that because, eventually those old guys are going to die off. And then what happens if there's nobody right now in their 40s, 30s and 40s and early 50s that are in the pipeline? And I think that's going to be a real problem. And I don't know what the solution is going to be. I think
is the pipeline a euphemism?
What?
Is the pipeline a euphemism?
No, it's not a euphemism. No.
Okay.
I was just saying this to Ray yesterday down here in the bunker, but I've been very focused on being naughty this year. And that's true. I have been very naughty because I'm hoping to wake up on the morning of the 25th and run out and find that Santa has put cerise coal in my stocking.
He's been naughty and stinky.
Local news joke. There you go.
That's a good question. Hey, I've got a pandemic-related question. Now that Dundee Dell has closed down, where am I going to get my fish and chips?
Wait a month. The Dell will be reopening soon. They're gutting the whole place, but what I hear is that they will have a big Scotch selection still, and they will also have some of the staple menu items like the fish and chips. So that'll still be there. But the whole place is going to look completely different. Going to have a completely different vibe to it. But from what I understand, fish and chips. Well, we'll still be on the menu.
Drive-through McDonald's. Order your fish sandwich, no bun, with the cheese on top with fries. And that's fish and chips, close enough. If you gotta have something fancy, go to what's the frozen fish stick?
Gorton's.
Uncle Paul's.
No, Gorton's. Plus the Gorton's fishermen of Gorton's from Gloucester. I'm just going to say, I did not heard the Dell was opening. Will they have the pepper steak?
I don't know. I haven't seen the whole menu.
Why are you asking Becka? Is he an expert?
Becka is the expert on the Dell, but I want to say,
the expert.
judging from the room, how many people think the Dell has been the Dell since Mel quit waiting there?
Thank you.
That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. That's the big answer.
Mel was a god.
And he was a nice man.
A very nice man. I'm showing my age again.
Yep.
Oh, thank God, because it's too dangerous to fly to England.
Darlene, I agree with you about the Brazen Head. Their fish and chips are great. My bitch about the Brazen Head, if you've ever had their cream of mushroom soup, it is to die for. But they never have it on any sort of regular schedule, so I never know. And it's always hit and miss whenever I go in there, and it pisses me off because every time I go in, I want the mushroom soup, and they don't always have it. But yeah, the Brazen Head has fish and chips too.
Not to be favoring one restaurant over another, but I'll vouch also for Brazen Head fish and chips. They're pretty good.
Yep.
Somebody mentioned that. The other thing that I guess I wonder about as far as comedy is what's going to happen with all those SNL open sketches,
They'll be replaced by Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've. Hey, what do you guys think of Baghdad Bar?
What's going to happen to all the SNL sketches now that Trump is not on?
They're open, cold open. Yeah.
The cold open will now have to be something more creative than the same old cold open for the last 4 years. That's what I think. And to be quite honest, we love SNL. Our good friend is a producer at SNL, and they've used Trump as a crutch, and some of their character development could benefit them by Trump not being in office.
All right.
Well, yeah, but Jeff, and I don't disagree with you about using Trump as a crutch, but it's all about the viral hits. And a Trump cold open with what's his face there, that gets the hits, and that's what it's about. So yeah, I mean, it'll depend what else is in the news. I do think one nice thing about Biden is that I do think that we will be focusing on other things in the news than just the latest tweet that the president puts out.
Who's Jeff?
Jeff?
Oh.
Who's Jeff?
I mean, Mr. Ray. I'm sorry, Mr. Ray. I apologize.
Air Bob, you want some?
Rolling.
That's all you get. No money, no funny, Atherton.
There's always going to be something to open with. I think we're going to see something about Russian hacking tonight. I don't know why. I'm guessing. Yeah. Could be. Giuliani's not going. There's going to be a lot of characters. It's not like everyone's going to leave the field.
But impressions, not characters. Impressions. They do a lot of impressions. They need to do characters.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, crazy guys were characters. Think of the great.
Yes, Lisa and Todd, Lisa Lubner and Todd. My God, genius at it.
Correct. Genius. The two
Hans and Franz. We're gonna pump you up.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Characters.
It says, what's Rollin Ray rolling? Any plans to move to Colorado?
Don't need it, Mikey.
He's going gummies. He just does gummies.
Actually, I do fruit snacks.
Yep.
Actually, I can strongly suggest Walmart fruit snacks, the tangy variety, very tasty. Almost as good as Mike and Ike's.
Can anyone explain to me how in 2020 a medical marijuana or recreational marijuana bill didn't pass in Nebraska? We never needed it more.
Yeah. You've never needed it more.
I don't like to go to the casinos and wear a mask. I feel like I'm going to hold up the joint. I just want the joint, not the...
An hour and a half drive to South Dakota this summer. Yeah. That's, we'll never, now that they got legalized marijuana in South Dakota, we'll never get the motorcyclists coming through here on their way to Sturgis. There's not a lot of tax revenue that way.
Our friend Rob Noxious just got out of the chair, and he can't. You fell down, Rob. Can't get up. Give me my hand, Rob.
Yeah, thank you guys. Listen, this was it really made my day. I hope that everybody that joined in today felt that release, that stress release, and that's what I get from comedy. That's what I get from all this. I just can feel it drop off my shoulders. Thank you very much for that. Next month, though, we will go back to dealing with a subject that's on more of an academic or serious level. We're going to talk about healthcare next month, and we've got a great gentleman lined up right now, and we may add to it. But so we'll talk about healthcare and health insurance, and we think that that's a topic that's going to be very busy coming up in the next year and the next administration. So I hope you can all join us. We'll let everybody know what the details are as they come to us. But I think it's going to be a real quality session. Thank you, man. I was laughing pretty good here, and I will not talk with my mouth full. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation. We'll see you all next month. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year.
Mr. Galusha, Mr. Atherton, Mr. Hahn, lovely Caroline, Mr. Foley.
I love the bunker. You guys.
Hi, guys. Adios. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.